This is a deeper dive into OnePlus 7 Pro and its camera. If you want to see the full OnePlus 7 Pro review, we'll leave a link down in the description below. Lately on flagship phones, the camera department is where all the innovation and the big push is happening. And OnePlus 7 is not a stranger here. They've invested a lot of time and effort to produce an amazing results. As part of that, they've also invested a lot of time to resolve the issues that they had since launch. We're going to cover this in this video. OnePlus 7 Pro is loaded with a triple camera setup. The primary 48 megapixel Sony sensor, which is equivalent to 26mm f1.6 and is also equipped with an optical image stabilization. The wide angle 16 megapixel, which is equivalent to 17mm f2.2, and the zoom, which is an equivalent to 78mm f2.8. It also features a pop-up 16 megapixel selfie cam, which is equivalent to 25mm at f2.0. As photographers, the two most used focal lengths for us are 24 and 85mm. So the OnePlus 7 Pro really nails it on that one. For the testing of the OnePlus 7 Pro camera, we'll be keeping all the settings on default and full auto. We'll also compare it to a Huawei Mate 20 Pro and a Fujifilm X-T2, which is our go-to camera currently. This video will be split into 3 sections. First we'll cover off photo performance, then video performance, and then we'll cover off any general observations that we had while using this phone. Let's jump into the photo performance. The first few pictures here are taken out of the window, just overlooking the garden. And in low light and highly dynamic scenes, we found an auto mode on OnePlus delivers great results, showing both highlights and not losing the detail in the shadows. Then we tested a night mode, where Mate 20 Pro lights up the picture a tad better, but makes it rather flat, while OnePlus fills in the shadows. In my opinion, this is a much better implementation. Next, we have something special for you. We have 3 pictures taken at the same location by 3 different devices: OnePlus 7 Pro, Huawei Mate 20 Pro, and a Fuji X-T2. Pause the video and try to guess which one is which. This threw us off. They seem pretty similar, right? One main difference: the picture taken by the camera had to be taken with 5 different exposures, then imported into a laptop, merged, edited, which took about 15 minutes. The pictures on the phones were just plain click, done. This puts both phones to a convenient and quick category in comparison to the camera. As to the look, it really depends what you prefer. OnePlus 7 Pro makes it a more contrasty image, while Huawei Mate 20 Pro makes a better color rendition. It varies from scene to scene. Here is another one. Even with the subject in frame, it appears to be a comparable between the 3 devices. What do you think? Leave us a comment down below. In portrait mode, OnePlus works very impressively. It mimics the out of focus blur really well, and we would go as far as calling it DSLR-like. We personally have an issue with the OnePlus 7 Pro portrait mode because it initially zooms in and there's nothing you can do about it. So either you take a few steps back, or you just have to keep it in mind and use it to your own advantage. Now moving on onto the special item on this camera, which is the pop-up selfie. The selfie itself is actually pretty good. During the day, with plenty of light, OnePlus 7 Pro does a better job with dynamic range, and the color is nice and not too saturated. When it gets a little darker, OnePlus 7 still looks good, but has a weird magenta tint. At the same time, in the complete darkness, the picture from both phones is so dark that it's not even worth trying. Talking about darkness, we've actually had a few issues with the OnePlus 7 Pro where for some reason the white balance went out of whack. In this particular example, we're making a barbecue and we are sitting by the fire, and we took a picture and it has this crazy magenta. But we took a picture once more and it was just fine. So be on the lookout. OnePlus 7 Pro doesn't really have a super macro mode, just like Huawei Mate 20 Pro. But at the same time, we went out and tested the best of our ability. What we found is actually has some issues focusing in particular scenarios where you have a very complex foreground and background, but it is very good at rendering the colors. It does fall apart when using the 3x zoom. We did a quick comparison while taking a picture of Christine's ring. Here we see a better color rendering from OnePlus on a wide shot, while Mate 20 Pro beats it on a 3x zoom. And for comparison, here is a shot taken with a Fuji X-T2 wide lens. Let us know in the comments what you really think. Can it be a replacement for a camera? We wanted to put photo stabilization through its paces with its 10x zoom. OnePlus almost immediately locked onto the subject and had much less sway than Huawei, which is really impressive. And of course, with the zoom ranges that are currently on the mobile phones, how could we stop ourselves from not comparing the two? Here are some sample pictures from both, starting with a 1x zoom, then going to a 3x zoom, a 5x zoom, and a maximum of 10x zoom. Bear in mind, with the recent update, Huawei has a 30x zoom, but it's rather specific to the device. So maybe we'll see this in the future on other devices too. Let's move on onto video performance. In our testing, we found that OnePlus 7 Pro keeps the highlights really well, with the shadows being a little too dark. When it comes down to stabilization, it's not great. The micro jitters and in many cases, flat out shaky footage makes you want to get a gimbal. At night, the stabilization doesn't really get any better, and the quality quickly deteriorates. Huawei is simply the better phone in this category. On the other hand, the phone has a really smooth and quick autofocus, which makes it a joy to work with, providing a standing in one spot. Let's talk about recording mode. This camera supports 4K 60 FPS, which gives you flexibility should you wish to slow a clip down and maintain high resolution. When it comes down to slow motion, you also have 1080p at 240 FPS and 720p at 480, but I would ignore that last one because the quality is just ain't great. Moving on to the general observations. We actually have one big pain point with this phone. It comes with 3 cameras, but you can't actually use all 3 of them in any given mode. You're actually limited to using all 3 in only the standard photo mode. For portrait, night mode, slow motion and even pro mode, you can only use the main sensor rather than having the ability to choose which one you prefer. I hope this could be improved in future updates. The feature that we really do like is located inside the pro mode, and it's the presets, the C1 and C2. What you can do is specify particular settings for the camera and save it down to one of the presets. Let's say you live out in the country and you have clear sky from time to time. You can set yourself up to have a particular exposure which works for your region and go outside, click C1 and take pictures of the sky. That is pretty cool. Another great feature is ability to customize which modes go in which order in your camera app. Actually, you can remove most of the modes if you don't use them at all, and then just leave the ones you use most often. Little complaint to OnePlus. The use of the modes, or particularly how you swap between them, could be improved. At the moment, you have to click on the picture and swipe left and right, or you have to click onto the actual name of the mode. You can actually swipe through the UI, which seems very counterintuitive. And lastly, a small feature we recently found out is Google Lens integration. You can point your phone at an item, hold down on the phone, and you'll start the search. This is quite nifty. To conclude, this phone definitely punches way above its weight, and the dynamic range is just unbelievable. Sure, this phone does have some improvements to do, mainly focusing on the picture profiles and the stabilization. But for a phone which is only $600 odd, it is pretty damn good bargain. I hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to smash that thumbs up, subscribe to show your support, and we'll see you in the next one.